Welcome to my channel. I'm Doris. I'm here to share with you about my stock account update. So today, Buffett, the CEO of Berkshire, had held his 2023 shareholder meeting. During the meeting, Buffett and his Vice Chairman Charlie Munger talked about Apple, Bank of America, and Occidental Petroleum, which are strongly correlated to Berkshire, about the economic situation and the currency, about investing in Japan, successor candidates, about dynamics of companies such as Activision, Blizzard, and Paramount that are related to the interest of the company. And their views on hotspots such as banking crisis and artificial intelligence, and another billionaire, Elon Musk. Buffett said he was a net seller of stocks in the first quarter. The financial report shows that Berkshire sold $13.2 billion worth of stocks, bought only $2.8 billion, and sold a net of $10.4 billion in stocks. The figure underscores that Buffett and Munger don't see a valuation as attractive for the period. Since the beginning of the year, Berkshire cash pile has increased by $2 billion to $130.6 billion, the highest level since the end of 2021. Munger said last month that investors should temper their expectation for stock market returns as the Federal Reserve raises rates and the economy slows. Talking about the Silicon Valley Bank crisis, Buffett said it was very painful, and the FDIC had a so-called compensation limit of about $250,000. He said he can imagine that it is talking about his parliament today, the government today, as well as the Federal Reserve and FDIC. Of course, everyone said that they don't want to go to TV tomorrow to talk about these issues, to explain to American people what is happening now. And you can only pay $250,000 now. That is something that every bank is unwilling to talk about. Talking about the contagion of fear in the banking industry, he said that sometimes the fear is justified and sometimes it is not. Buffett's father lost his job in a bank run early in the Great Depression, but the banking industry has changed. The creation of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation was a far-sighted move. Buffett said, the economy cannot function if people fear the safety of their bank deposits. Even though the FDIC pays 100% insurance on all deposits, people are concerned in all sorts of crazy ways. This should not happen. Politicians, institutions, and the media have done a terrible job of delivering their message. Buffett named First Republic Bank. A look at their 10K reveals that the bank offers a huge non-government-backed mortgages at fixed rates. Buffett said First Republic's problems were obvious before they erupted. Some of the shares held by insiders were sold. Who knows if they have a plan? When talking about why he has been heavily holding Bank of America, he said, I like Bank of America and their management. It is reported that Buffett had significantly reduced his holdings of bank stocks last year. Bank stocks have gradually been withdrawn from the list of heavy positions. He pointed out that Apple will definitely inherit his work, but he will also negotiate with Jane to make his final decision. The implementation of the corporate inheritance is not so simple. Managing Berkshire may not only require the current 5 next-generation leaders, but more capable people. If they cannot handle it right, he won't give them Berkshire. He added that every company's situation is different. Charlie said Berkshire is not very supportive of Apple and other senior management. Buffett and the Japanese investment will continue to increase Berkshire's value in the years to come. It is also said that part of the reason for his trip to Japan this time was to introduce Apple to these companies, because the two parties may have to work together for many years. Apple, Vice Chairman of Berkshire, said that Buffett's investment in Japan is to build trust with these companies, which is an incredible investment. Buffett said that his Apple holdings definitely do not account for 35% of his investment portfolio, which includes energy, railways, and many other industries. Apple has a big advantage. because they will continue to repurchase their own stocks and the value is also rising. They don't need to do anything and the market value of the holdings will rise. Buffett admitted that he made some mistakes 2 years ago and sold some Apple shares and said the decision was stupid at the time. Buffett said that Apple is better than any other business owned by Berkshire and would be happy to see Berkshire's shareholding exceed the current 5.6%. Buffett, when asked about the outside position in the portfolio, said the company's railroad business is far inferior to Apple's. He says that the relationship between Apple and the consumers is very close. Consumers are even willing to spend $1,500 to spend to own such a fund, and some people may spend $35,000 to buy a second car. But if they choose to give up, the fund is still the car, and they'll give up their car. Therefore, the close relationship between Apple and the consumers is unparalleled. Buffett said he might not be able to learn the technical aspects of the business, but that would be fine if he could understand other factors and keep learning. He cites Apple as an example. I don't understand phones at all, Buffett said, but I do understand consumer behavior. It is important to understand how a good business can turn into a bad business, or whether something attracts people's interest, he said. He says that it is unimaginable that Washington would allow the United States to refuse raise the debt ceiling, leading to a default on its debt, and risking the destruction of the global financial system to put the world into turmoil. He said, it is crazy to keep printing money and can also continue to do so. When the pandemic occurs, it is like fighting a war. No one knows how much money was needed to print before there will be problems until it gets out of control. We need to be very cautious, and it is very difficult for the United States to see things turning around if they go too far. Buffett said that the US dollar is indeed still a reserve currency now, but it may not be so in the future. We don't think anyone fully understands what's going on. Maybe Fed Chair Jerome Powell knows better, but he doesn't have complete control over the situation either. He has no way of controlling fiscal policy. That's all I have for today. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like. See you next episode.